I do believe anything is possible, and I think you might as well, the writer's allowed to do that. In fact, that's the writer's job, is to think of as many unthought of things as possible. I think the whole multiverse idea, in physics as well as in fiction, was largely a reaction to the Big Bang Theory. I mean, that's what I seriously think is true, that the Big Bang Theory essentially told you there was nothing, that everything was going to end as nothing. Everything would disperse to the point of being so amorphous it essentially didn't exist. And I think a lot of scientists, as well as ordinary people such as myself, couldn't stand that idea, couldn't stand the idea of there being nothing. But the reason I like the eternal champion idea is you could extend it, and multiverse idea as well, is that you could extend both those. You could write science fiction stories or fantasy stories, but you could also just write straight stories with that resonating in the background. I think the reason I don't like so much science fiction is because the things that are said are just banal. They're not particularly interesting. They're kind of, I don't know, provincial schoolmaster's notion of what philosophical ideas are, and that irritates me rather, or did irritate me certainly in the 50s and 60s. So that's what I was acting against. What happens to writers who write a lot, particularly if they're writing out of a if they're kind of conscious of mining mining their own psyches in a certain way, is that this happened with Balzac, certainly, I think probably first, is you gradually begin to realize that you're writing about the same character, even though you put a different name on that character, that you're writing about the same character. So, the next thing is you think, well, it's stupid just making putting different names on these characters, because if you're carrying a narrative on this character in, I don't know, one book, then you can carry a different narrative and put the character into a different narrative, a different context, in another book. But if it's the same character, it actually is more interesting, because you're going to start revealing different aspects of that character.